This is a Vanilla Palm Films production.
Good morning. It is Thursday, December the 5th, 2019. You may hear in the background some road noise. That's because I am driving between Houston and Mississippi on Interstate 10. It's 68 degrees in the Houston area, on its way to about 72, I guess. Yeah, I've had the chance to drive across this country, more than a dozen times. Probably a couple dozen. And if you've never done it, you should. But there's one thing that's very, very clear to me, especially today. When you look at our road crews and our infrastructure, they're in terrible shape. Interstate 10 is actually one of the worst sections of highway that you'll drive on between Houston and Baton Rouge. It's terrible. I try to avoid going this route, but it is the shortest route, so it depends on, what your schedule is like. But as I drive, it's very clear to me that the Mexican, Hispanic workers are the ones that are rebuilding our highways. Overwhelmingly, 90% of the crews that you see across this country working outside in the elements, the heat, the cold, it's dirty, 90% of them are of Hispanic background. So it's true. I don't think white America values those jobs, or they won't do them for whatever reason or the other. And yet, it's that section of the population that we continue to beat up on, which I just don't get, because they do the jobs that we don't want to do. It's plain and simple, whether we want to admit it or not. Something else is very clear. I come from a time when most people were pretty respectful along the road. They waved at each other. They weren't driving crazy. They were smart. It's not like that at all now. And I've noticed in the last 3 to 5 years, it's gotten even worse, especially the big trucks. They used to do what they had to do, stay in their right lane, pass when they needed to. They really did. Not anymore. They're overbearing. They could care less about passenger vehicles. Just along this stretch of road, which is about an 8-hour drive between Houston and Jackson, 90% of the time, you're going to get in a situation where you have 2 big trucks taking up both lanes or 3 lanes, and they don't care to move. You're going to have them pull out in front of you even as you approach coming around them, knowing that they don't have enough power to go on around the 18-wheeler that's in front of them. So they both just sit there, sometimes for miles, while you're trying to figure out a way to get around them. They do not care. So in some respects, I get road rage. I really do. When you spend a lot of time in the car, and especially in high traffic, most people are in the same boat. So they try to be pretty careful, and they kind of watch out as if they're in the other driver's shoes. But then you've got those people who do not care. They're going to push the envelope, not only put themselves in jeopardy, but more important, they're going to put someone else in jeopardy. I really do believe that if every major interstate in this country could probably build 6 lanes before we could actually really make traffic flow at a peaceful, efficient way. 2 lanes just won't get it anymore. Yesterday I watched, I can't help it, it's like watching a bad car wreck. You just can't look away from it. But I watched or listened to some more Senate judicial impeachment hearings, and the more I do, the angrier I get. And it really isn't about what I'm learning about Trump. We pretty much know those facts already. They're not going to change. What I don't get, these Republicans, mainly Senators Nunes, Radcliffe, Jordan, Connor, these guys make me sick to my stomach. On one hand, they want to act like they are the smartest people ever elected to Congress. They talk to people like they're ignorant. They are a complete disgrace and embarrassment. In the states that they come from, California, Florida, Georgia, they should be embarrassed. They should get them out of office. When it comes time for them to ask questions, they just have a speech. They completely ignore the testimony that is before them. And they start ranting and raving about things that aren't even relevant. And they're making shit up. And what's sad is there are some Americans out there who are buying it, who are listening to them only and believing every word they say. And these people are smart. They know they're lying. They know they're focusing on the wrong thing. They don't even try to make a defense of this guy. That's because they don't have one. So instead, they turn it into other things. Well, look what the Democrats are doing. None of them say, here's why he did what he did. They just say, oh, it didn't happen, or someone else said it. It's hearsay. We don't know what our founding fathers would think right now because they're not here. No shit. Use some common sense. Use some common sense. Stop acting like a retard, a bully, and grow some balls. It's okay. You can disagree with your president. You can even disagree with the process. But have a legitimate point of view. I wish every one of them would get removed, kicked out of office. And no, this is not a Democratic versus Republican concept, because there are Republicans who are not participating in this bullshit. You don't see Mitt Romney up there trying to defend this guy or making up stuff or further perpetuating the Russian narrative. And speaking of Russia, they must be sitting back and just laughing their asses off at the chaos that they caused, and knowing that not only Americans but these clowns in Congress fell for it. You got representatives from Louisiana saying they don't even know who it was that interfered in the election. Yes, they do. And if they don't, shame on them. You need to resign. Stop BSing the American people. Speak the truth. And let's move on. Let's get him out of there already. That's my point of view. I'm tired of it. It's old. America's tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about it. And now it seems like we're just focusing on the Ukraine situation. Have we forgotten about the Mueller report? Oh, that's all made up. Yeah, sure. What about the scandals that he's been involved in? You're trying to tell me that someone who is an innocent, good man would have dozens of scandals? No. Maybe one, maybe two. Then you could sort of lend an ear to, okay, let me give him the benefit of the doubt. We're talking about everything from paying hookers off to making secret deals with foreign governments to putting your own personal lawyer in the middle of government issues, constantly lying. I have forgotten the count that the New York Times is keeping on how many lies Donald Trump has told. Comments that are not based in fact, but are based on things in his head. It's enough already. Really, seriously, enough. I am fully aware that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has asked the judicial chairman to go forward with writing articles of impeachment. They're not going to impeach this guy in the Senate. They're going to acquit him. He's going to continue to do what he does. And in fact, it's going to make him feel emboldened to do even more or worse. And I'm assuming then that's what Americans want. They don't care. Just let him do whatever it is he's going to do. And that's so naive, because we're so used to believing that what we have will always remain. They're almost too blind to realize how close we are to losing what we call a democracy. And while we're talking about that, this word called socialism that everyone has a so-called problem with, I got news for you guys. This country was founded on socialism. That's the whole crux behind democracy, guys. Think about it. Socialism is some word that people who don't like it made up so they can protect how much money they have, or try to keep someone from getting what they have, or they don't want it taken from them. I get all that. But you can't remove socialism from this country, because then you will no longer have a democracy. They go hand in hand. That is the whole reason why we fought the American Revolution. Socialism, break the word down, social. It is about a group of people, us, Americans. What happened to that being what we stand for? That doesn't mean everyone gets everything for free. We've made that word into that because someone wanted to twist it and make it into something that it's not. Social security, the backbone of taking care of our people as they age. If you're not a socialist, then you're not even for Social Security. Anyway, you don't need me preaching at you. I would just like for you to think about what's really going on here. Stop being told what to think and use the brain that God gave you, the good common sense that you have to figure it out. I'm sorry, 1 second. Well, that was a phone call that I was not looking forward to getting, but I knew was possible. That call was to inform me that my father-in-law has passed away. And I didn't mention that that is actually the reason why I am making this trip back to Mississippi to see him. But I am too late.